guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit of heat going on between ABBA and Preach and Fresh and Fit. Both ABBA and Preach and myself have been on Fresh and Fit's podcast, and it seems the two kind of went from a disagreement to an all-out war, is about the best way I could call it, which is really disappointing because I know some of you don't like, one or the other, or they do things that you disagree with. But I like both content creators because I think they bring different ideas and different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different methods to the manosphere. And I think anything that we can do that helps men out in their path through life is a positive. So this is kind of a weird video for me to do because I'm kind of talking about two creators that I enjoy and I think are both positives to the community, kind of going at each other. But I wanted to talk about this because, number one, I've probably gotten 100 emails on this saying, dude, what do you think about this? And number two, I think they're both right and maybe both wrong a little bit, which, I don't know, that's just my opinion on the whole thing. But I do have kind of an agreeing to one side of it, and I'm going to put that out there. Again, because some of you guys want to know how I think of it. And if I just said, well, they're both great guys and hate to see it happen. Anyway, moving on, I think that would be a little bit disingenuous. As a guy in the manosphere, of course I have opinions. If you don't know what's kind of going on, it looks like it started out with ABBA and Preach decided to do a video talking about why paying for box, as they call it, paying for women's time and enjoying women's company and paying them for it. And so ABBA and Preach decided to do a video about it, and they referenced when they were back on Fresh and Fit's podcast. And so then Fresh and Fit found out that they kind of were disagreeing with them, and so they decided on their live podcast to kind of go off on ABBA and Preach. They've since turned that video to unlisted, so you can't find it anymore. Although I had already downloaded it, so I could do a discussion on it. So actually, I do have that video. I'm not going to play it here on YouTube. I am going to play it over on my Locals channel, which links are down below. If you want to become a member and a subscriber and come on board, you can watch that. And I'll be putting them at the end of for you Locals viewers. It'll be at the end of this video. But the whole thing that I wanted to talk about today. Let me finish the rest of this. So then, I guess on the podcast, Fresh and Fit challenged ABBA and Preach to a boxing contest. And I think Preach, looks like as of ABBA and Preach's latest video, it looks like they have accepted, and they will be having a boxing match or something, I guess. I'm not, like, I understand that as a man you do have pride, and if you're called out, you want to step up and you want to defend yourself. And, it's up to these guys how they want to work out their differences. A boxing match would be interesting. I certainly would turn into it to see who wins. But I think this all stems from and is part of the problem we have in the manosphere, which is there are different messages that resonate with different men to get the result that man wants. So in other words, if I have a car and it keeps breaking down, and I'll just use this as an example, I could either A, study how to repair it and fix it myself, and I think, well, I'll go take $1,000 or spend $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 to take a college course, and I'll learn how to repair my own car, so whenever something goes wrong, I can go down to the hardware store, pick up what I need to do, fix it, and then I don't need to worry about it. Then there's the second type of person that might say, you know what, just sell the old car. It's going to cost you a lot more money, but buy a new car, and then you don't have to ever worry about repairing it. Instead of spending all this money constantly repairing an old car, you spend a little more and get a new car, but then you don't have to worry about repairing it. Then there's the other guy that says, well, I don't want either of those options, so I'm just going to work really hard, make lots of money, and then I'll pay someone else to keep fixing my car. All of them are the same results. You may end up spending the same amount of money or a little more here and there. And the end result is a fixed car, but one guy decides to fix it himself, one guy decides to buy a new one, and another guy decides to pay somebody else for the headache and then just work harder for himself so that maybe he's working 20 more hours to earn the money to pay a guy to fix his car versus him working 20 hours on the car himself. The end result is kind of all the same, but there are three very different ways to get there. One of the things I think that we get ourselves into problems with, especially on men's channels, or for those of us that take different options or different routes to try to help men, is that, my opinion might be X. Study a manual, learn how to fix the car yourself, and then you can fix the car and just go get the parts. Maybe that's my opinion. And I might say yes, but now whenever a car breaks down, I know how to check the spark plugs or check the fuel pump or check the air intake or one of the other million things. Nowadays, it's most likely a chip, and you need to plug in a computer to read it. But even those computers you can buy for $200-300 and then look up the error codes and still, and I know this from the school bus that I was working on, but someone else may disagree with that. And the problem comes when you start arguing about which is the best way to go about fixing your car, because you're going to have differences. And I think that's a situation we have here between Abbott and Preach and Fresh and Fit, is both of them are seeing the world through different ways. I think Abbott and Preach are in their 40s or closer to that. And Fresh and Fit are younger guys. I think they're late 20s maybe. I think Abba is married, or Preach, one of the two of them is married. The guys on Fresh and Fit, Myron and Fresh CEO, they're young guys that are in Miami playing the game and going to nightclubs and dating. They're different places in life. And so when you're in a different place in your life and you've seen different things and you're having different experiences, your advice is different for everybody. And what we've got here is just guys that see the world in a different way than each other. And now they're kind of aiming their guns at each other and calling each other out and being unhappy. I thought I would just put out there that I am closer to Abba and Preach's ages. I do what they do, which is I kind of review video, I review articles, and then I talk about it and I give my advice and I give my thoughts on it. But they don't give a lot of statistics out. Well, Fresh and Fit, they do live and they kind of roast girls online and they use statistics. So I'm actually a little bit of both channels. Like I do the reading of articles and talking about events like Ab and Preach do, and then I give some statistics and talk about red pill stuff like Fresh and Fit do. So I'm literally channel in between both these two worlds. And I think me personally, I just lean a little bit closer to the way Abba and Preach view the world because of my age and because of now here's the thing, I've done what Fresh, Myron and Fresh CEO do. I've done what they've done. I've been in the game. I wasn't in Miami at the time. In the time I was in, I did some up in Syracuse, New York, and I did some game kind of down south in other areas that I've lived. I've done what they've done. So I certainly can't call them out on that. I didn't do it on a podcast, and I didn't do it live in front of 100,000 people, but I lived the life they did. And now I'm kind of living the life a little bit closer to how Abba and Preach do. So, it's very hard for me to pick a side here, but I think what's important to know is that both groups of men have valid views on the world. They're just in different places of their lives and they see things differently. And the problem is I think they're disagreeing with some things, and because they're in different places in their lives, they're not in agreement on anything. So I know that's kind of a weak take on it, but if you expected me to sit here and roast one group of guys or the other or call them all out or break everything down, that's not what I do. That's just not what I do, because and the same thing is, that's why I don't tell you guys, here's what to do in your life. Here's how to pick up women. Here's how to become rich. Here's how to get in shape. That's not what I do. That's not what I do, because if you want to know how to get in shape, I'll tell you, here's some great YouTube channels to go watch to get in shape. And maybe one of them will resonate with you. If you say, hey, I want to become successful in financial wealth and be successful, I'll say, here's Aaron Clary and here's a bunch of other channels on that stuff. If you say, I want to learn how to date or I want to learn how to pick up women, I'll say, go watch Fresh and Fit or any of the guys from Rule Zero or from Entrepreneurs in Cars, Rich Cooper over there. I'll send you that direction. That's not what I do. All I do is say, look, statistically, and look at these stories, and look at these divorces, and look at these breakups, and look at this madness, and look at these laws, and look at the way men are treated poorly. This is kind of what you can expect if you want to dip your foot in the pool of dating or trying to hit on other women or trying to learn pickup game and try to score with women. These are the risks that you have. They're just different ways of doing it. And I know some of you guys watch my stuff. I know some of you watch Fresh and Fit. I know some of you watch Ab and Preach. I know some of you guys that watch Kevin Samuels. I know some of you guys that watch Donovan Sharp and Coach Greg Adams. And they're just a bunch of voices that are all talking about different things that men should be aware of. And again, I think it's very frustrating and it's very sad to see when the manosphere starts attacking itself and starts disagreeing with the way that others in the same manosphere view things. But that's kind of what happens when you get along these lines, and it's why I don't think I've ever really said anything negative or harshly about other guys' channels, because we all just have a different way of viewing the world. And so that's my thoughts on it. If you guys were hoping that I would jump on one side or another, I don't. I like both creators. I tend to lean to a little bit more towards Abba and Preach's views today because I'm closer to their age and I'm closer to their experiences in life. But again, when I was young, I was very much like Fresh CEO and I get all their names, so many Freshes and CEOs, and I'm kind of the same of both groups, just at different ages, and so I can see why they disagree. For those of you that are on locals, I'm going to transfer over, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about this stuff and break down kind of what I think's happening, whose thoughts I kind of agree a little bit more with, and then I'm going to talk about another content creator that recently called me out. Guys, if you enjoy original content, if you'd like to see dating profiles of the day where I roast dating profiles that women are putting online, if you'd like to get new original news every day where I talk about various topics, and if you'd like to see the losses of the day, I'm moving all of those to the end of my content, and they're going to be exclusively on locals.com. That's betterbachelor.locals.com. You can also join several other creators over on Locals, such as Coffee with Scott Adams, The Rubin Report with Dave Rubin, Tulsi Gabbard, Viva Barnes Law, Better Bachelor, of course, yours truly, Michael Malice, and let's see who else we've got on here. We've got Donald Trump Jr., we've got Prager University, the Babylon Bee. Who else is fun? Carpe Donktum is over here, Paul Joseph Watson, Dr. Drew. We got tons of creators that are unique, and everybody is moving over to locals.com. Well, when I say everybody that's smart, that is. So if you'd like to see original content done by me, become a supporter today over at betterbachelor.locals.com. Join myself, 35,000 other of your fellow viewers from YouTube, and join other content creators to get new and unique perspectives that you can no longer see on YouTube.